We start with this floods crisis on the east coast of Australia and particularly in New South Wales. Police found 2 bodies in a stormwater canal in Wentworthville in Sydney's west this morning. It is flooding throughout Sydney and all over the state with plenty of rain to come. These pictures a short time ago from Manly on Sydney's northern beaches and the Roseville Bridge up there flooding as well as flash flooding takes hold. We'll bring you up to date with our reporters on this crisis throughout the afternoon. In the north, Lismore and surrounds is a disaster zone. Thousands are homeless. People are unable to go to the toilet even there. This has led to predictable criticism of federal and state governments this morning in terms of have they done enough about the disaster. Defence Minister Peter Dutton gets tackled here.
God help us if we were going to war. We wouldn't stand a chance if it took this long to get ourselves organised. What's going on? Why aren't they there quicker?
Well, Koshi, if you're on the ground, you'd be able to see them. There are 760 people. The images that you've seen
we want 5,000.
Of trucks of troops rolling in, we're providing thousands more, and I take the advice from the logisticians and the experts at Defence as to where they need people. And the people who know what they're doing, Koshi, and know what they're talking about, they're the people that are wearing uniforms that, frankly, we should have a bit more respect for, and they're providing the support on the ground.
Prime Minister Scott Morrison, still in COVID isolation, has convened an Expenditure Review Committee of Cabinet this afternoon to come up with much more funding to help the recovery and rebuild effort. I flagged yesterday the government is considering taking action to attempt to spend more of the interest accrued and perhaps some of the capital from the $4.8 billion Emergency Response Fund. Ultimately, any rebuild will cost billions. Kelly Slater, the champion surfer, wrote an open letter to the Prime Minister here where he called the government response to the northern New South Wales situation thus far appalling, saying the lack of federal assistance is nothing short of appalling. Scott Morrison giving an economic AFR summit speech today where he talked about the unprecedented nature of the northern New South Wales floods.
I mean, it's 2 metres higher, the flood level that was experienced there, than the highest ever recorded flood in that part of Australia. It is just mind-boggling.
On the show today, we will talk to Cabinet Minister David Littleproud about the government response. He says here of Scott Morrison's visits to flood zones scheduled for later in the week that the PM knows after his Cobargo experience during the bushfires he might cop some flack, but he needs to be there.
You know, the Prime Minister has obviously admitted mistakes around his trip to Hawaii, but it didn't take away from his passion, his commitment, and the emotional toll of seeing the hurt on the ground. And that is the thing, as being a former emergency service minister, I can tell you it's one of the toughest jobs you'll ever do, to see the misery of your fellow Australians. So I'm sure the Prime Minister, whether he's clapped or booed, wants to be there to listen, to understand and to be able to fix the catastrophe that's been unfolded across these poor Australians. And that's his job, and he's got to do it whether they like him or not.
New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet was in Lismore earlier this week. We're standing by for a live update from him this hour from Sydney. He's indicated he will spend as much time in Lismore as possible while also coordinating the recovery from Sydney. He has the added complication of his 7th child being due this week, and he will be under pressure to be back at work as soon as possible given the crisis.